Nightly Business Report.
Good evening. Tonight, President says the country has seen favorable results from the IMF. Optimization of resources and MOU with creditors also mentioned. Orders given to complete the Bingera industrial zone by the end of this year. President Wickremesinghe to visit the site in June to inspect the progress firsthand. Good news from the stock market as a day in green recorded after 3 negative days in a row. And Huawei features its homemade Chinese suppliers in its latest high-end devices.
From Studio 24, here's Sina Mayadune.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that Sri Lanka has seen good results under the International Monetary Fund program, but the country has to complete debt restructuring and continue on a reform path to ensure strong growth.
He stated that an appreciating rupee has brought down prices of imported goods, including milk powder and gas, and the falling interest rates are benefiting the businesses. Moreover, he added that going beyond stability, now the country has to get on a sustainable path. Optimization of resources were also brought up, telling that state revenues and the country's foreign reserves need to increase as we have to start paying the debts. Drafting of MOUs with official creditors, including the Paris Club, the Official Creditors Committee, and China Exim Bank separately, was also mentioned. President said Sri Lanka needed to pay back its loans and get new loans and after that boost exports and modernize agriculture. Wickremesinghe said that the government cannot give a salary increase to state workers this year, although many had requested it.
Sri Lanka's export community, represented by various chambers and associations, has come together to address critical issues hindering the country's export potential. In a comprehensive call to action, exporters have highlighted key concerns ranging from transparency and accountability in government agencies in facing various challenges.
The press conference was organized by the National Chamber of Exporters of Sri Lanka, Joint Apparel Association Forum Sri Lanka, Tea Exporters Association, Sri Lanka Shippers Council, Sri Lanka Association of Manufacturers and Exporters of Rubber Products, Exporters Association of Sri Lanka, and the Sri Lankan Association for Software and Services Companies. Against the backdrop of stagnating trend in merchandise exports, Mr. Jayantha Karunaratne, the President of National Chamber of Exports of Sri Lanka, seized the opportunity to articulate the pressing issues facing the Chamber's members. Highlighting the gravity of the solution, he emphasized the urgent need to effectively policy making to counteract the stagnation of merchandise exports and propel sustainable economic growth. The stagnation in merchandise products, despite the occasional increase in merchandise products in certain months, underscore the significance of collaborative efforts between the government and the private sector to navigate these challenges effectively. Recognizing the pivotal role that exports play in bolstering foreign currency reserves and driving economic prosperity, there was a collective call for swift action and the strategic collaboration to reverse the current trajectory.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe directed relevant officials to ensure the completion of infrastructure development in the Bingera industrial zone by the end of this year.
These instructions were given during a discussion held at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday to review the progress of infrastructure and the other constructions in the area. The construction of the Bingera industrial zone is taking place in 3 phases, with a significant portion of the infrastructure for the first phase being already completed. Accordingly, President Wickremesinghe advised the officials to ensure the completion of the ongoing work by year's end and expressed his intention to visit the site in June to inspect the progress firsthand.
Let's go for a short commercial break now. Some positive news from the Colombo Stock Exchange on the other side. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. After 3 consecutive days in the red, the Colombo Stock Exchange has finally given some positive news. Both the All-Share Price Index and the S&P SL20 Index were recorded gains at the end of today's trading. For insight, let's join Dylan Dissanayake from Capital Alliance Securities.
Today, the Colombo Stock Exchange concluded on a positive note, ending at 12,396 points, making a 43-point increase from the previous session with a turnover of 2.8 billion rupees. The SL20 index also experienced an upward movement of 43 points to end the day at 3,683 points. Notable institutional engagement was observed across various sectors, with significant turnover in Dialog Asiata, Lanka IOC, Brown's Investments and NDB Bank. In terms of positive contribution to the SPI, HNB Bank, Sampath Bank, Commercial Bank, NDB Bank and DFCC Bank stood out. The top 5 gainers for the day were Lanka Realty Investments, Abans PLC, United Motors, Mahaveli Reach Hotel and Tal Lanka. The top 5 losers for the day were SMB Leasing Non-Voting, Nation Lanka Finance, Amana Bank Takaful and Serendip Hotels Non-Voting. Foreign purchases amounted to 689 million along with foreign sales of LKR 318 million rupees.
Data from the State Debt Office showed Sri Lanka's 3-month Treasury Bill yield fell 18 basis points to 9.43% at yesterday's auction, while others were marginally down. The 3-month fell 18 basis points from 9.61% to 14.96%, with 30 billion rupees in securities offered and all 30 billion rupees sold. The 6-month yield fell 13 basis points from 9.89% to 9.76%, with the 60 billion rupees in securities offered and 92.54 billion rupees sold. Well, how would this impact the secondary market in the upcoming days, and what factors would it impose on the next week's auction? We pose that question to Tharusha Ashokgar from First Capital Holdings.
At yesterday's weekly Treasury Bill auction, we witnessed a 5th consecutive week of declines in weighted average yields across all 3 maturities, marking their lowest levels in over 2 years. So this week's decline was particularly sharp, with the 91-day maturity falling by 18 basis points to 9.43%, the 182-day maturity by 13 basis points to 9.76%, and the 364-day maturity by 9 basis points to 9.9%. The entire offered amount of LKR 155 billion was accepted at the auction, with 60% being accepted from the 6 months Treasury Bill. So this declining trend is mirrored in the secondary bond market, where rates continue to fall on a week-on-week basis, particularly witnessing a sizable decline in the short to mid tenors where investors actively participated. So we anticipate that interest rates have further room to decline as the economy recovers, with inflation recorded as per central bank's expectations of less than 5%, and a significant rise in reserves position to over 5 billion indicates further potential for interest rates to decline. As a result, we anticipate a slight reduction in the upcoming Treasury bond and bill auctions scheduled for next week. However, looking ahead, delays in finalizing external debt restructuring, potential delays in receiving the IMF third tranche, and impending elections could pose a risk to the bond market. As a result, there is a potential for slight increase in rates during the second half of 2024.
Gold prices moved little in Asian trade, hovering well below recent record highs as investors remained largely biased towards the dollar before more cues on the Federal Reserve and inflation. The yellow metal saw limited safe haven demand amid some expectations of an Israel-Hamas ceasefire. Spot gold rose by 0.2% to $2,313.51 an ounce, while gold futures expiring in June fell 0.1% to $2,320.60. The yellow metal saw little love as a string of Fed officials warned that sticky inflation will deter any plans to cut rates in the near term. Oil prices increased today, aided by data showing elevated demand appetite in the US and China, the world's biggest oil consumers. International benchmark Brent crude traded at $83.86 per barrel, at a rise of 0.34% from the closing price of $83.58 per barrel in the previous trading session. American benchmark West Texas Intermediate traded at $79.39 per barrel at the same time, a 0.51% increase from the previous session that closed at $78.99 per barrel. U.S. commercial crude oil inventories decreased by 1.4 million barrels to 459.5 million barrels during the week ending May 3rd. It was in line with market expectations of a 1.43 million barrel decline. The Sri Lankan rupee has appreciated slightly against the US dollar today compared to yesterday, according to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Accordingly, the buying rate of the US dollar has dropped from 294 rupees and 38 cents to 293 rupees and 82 cents, while the selling rate has also dropped from 303 rupees and 92 cents to 303 rupees and 37 cents. The rupee has also appreciated against a number of foreign currencies, including Gulf currencies, which the rupee has depreciated in the recent days. Here's how the rupee performed against the global currencies for the day. Get you an update with the corporate world right after this break. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. Lanka Property Web, a real estate portal in Sri Lanka, proudly announces groundbreaking enhancements set to revolutionize the real estate marketing industry with the infusion of artificial intelligence.
The company introduces two cutting-edge features: the AI-powered social media promo add-on package and the ML image recognition tool designed to transform prosperity listings and streamline marketing efforts. The AI-powered social media promo tool, also known as Amplifier, which stands for Automated Multi-Program Integration, for instance Extra Reach, will allow advertisers on its site to promote their ads instantly on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Using AI, the tool will generate videos based on images uploaded and a trending soundtrack to the videos, and generate personalized captions and hashtags for each platform using ChatGPT within seconds. The machine learning image recognition tool introduces a range of benefits aimed at transforming the landscape of online listings. Firstly, its advanced image recognition capability empowers users by efficiently detecting and eliminating spam images, thereby elevating the overall quality of the listings.
The International Cricket Council announced today a 4-year extension to its global partnership with Aramco, one of the world's leading integrated energy and chemicals companies. Following a successful initial 18-month term, Aramco will continue as a premier partner of the ICC, and the partnership will include all men's and women's senior and under-19s events scheduled until the end of 2027. It will include the upcoming ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2024 in West Indies and USA, followed by the ICC Women's T20 World Cup in Bangladesh in September and October. The theme at the core of the partnership is performance, with a focus to engage a younger audience of cricket's 1 billion fan base. Dialog Axiata plc announced its consolidated financial results for the 3 months ended 31st of March 2024. Financial results included those of Dialog Axiata plc and of the Dialog Axiata Group.
The macro environment continued to improve in Q1 2024 as indicators such as the exchange rate and the inflation moved in the favorable direction through settling at elevated levels relative to pre-crisis. As a result of the high inflationary environment that prevailed in the past, the consumer spending on telecommunication services yet remains challenged, while the cost base also remains elevated, leading to the challenges of margin expansion. The group concluded the quarter with a positive revenue performance being recorded on core revenue as it reached 34.6 billion rupees, up 1% year-on-year, mainly driven by the growth in mobile data and TV revenues. The group continued its strategy to scale down low-margin international wholesale business, which is expected to expand reported margins of the group, while absolute impact to the EBITDA remains neutral. Dialog Group continued to be a significant contributor to state revenues, remitting a total of 12.3 billion rupees to the government of Sri Lanka during the first quarter in 2024.
Citrus Leisure plc has announced the appointment of Suresh Dimel as chairman of the board of directors. Suresh Dimel will serve as chairman of the Citrus Leisure Group of companies, which includes Waskadua Beach Resorts plc and Hikkaduwa Beach Resorts plc. The appointment comes following the sudden demise of the group's much-loved chairman, Mr. Prema Kurai. Mr. Suresh Dimel, who has been an independent non-executive director of Citrus Leisure plc since 2011, brings a wealth of experience and expertise to his new role. Citrus also announced the appointment of Mr. Lalit Vitana as an independent non-executive director to the board of the group of companies. Patt Dairy Industries Limited has marked a significant milestone in Sri Lanka's dairy sector by signing a memorandum of understanding with the Department of Animal Production and Health.
The objective is to conduct artificial insemination under its dairy development program. This collaborative effort aims to modernize dairy farming practices, enhance livestock genetics, and boost dairy products across the nation. Artificial insemination has emerged as a vital tool for improving livestock genetics and increasing agricultural productivity in Sri Lanka. This practice involves advancing genetics of female cows with the goal of enhancing desirable traits such as milk production, disease resistance, and overall robustness. Through this partnership, the DAPH, Patt Dairy is committed to providing farmers with improved and efficient access to AI services, thus empowering them to enhance the quality of their livestock and increase their overall productivity.
Lenovo today announced the opening of the third Lenovo exclusive store in Jaffna, Sri Lanka, marking a significant milestone in the company's presence in the region. This announcement also underscores Lenovo's larger commitment to further Sri Lanka's digital transformation story, unleashing the power of AI to drive intelligent transformation with purpose-built AI-ready devices, infrastructure, solutions, and services that empower industries, enterprises, and individuals. The general manager of Lenovo for overseas businesses, Naveen Kejriwal, commented that their vision is to deliver smarter technology through cutting-edge products and solutions for their customers and partners. He also added they will continue to deepen their investments in the country by bolstering their retail network and partner ecosystem. Moving on to a short break now, this is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. Most Asian stocks moved in a flat to low range today amid a lack of direct trading cues and as markets awaited more comments from Federal Reserve officials and key U.S. inflation data in the coming days. China's Shanghai Shenzhen CSI 300 and Shanghai Composite indices rose about 0.9% each today. Gains in mainland stocks also drove up Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index, which rose 1.2%. Japan's Nikkei 225 rose 0.3% as weak wages data for March pushed up expectations that the Bank of Japan will have limited headroom to tighten monetary policy. Australia's ASX 200 sank 0.7% as heavyweight mining stocks were weighed down by weakness in commodity prices. The US stock update now. The Dow Jones Industrial Average ended higher yesterday, stretching its winning streak to 6 straight sessions and closing above 39,000 points for the first time in 5 weeks.
The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed higher on Wednesday, stretching its winning streak to 6 straight sessions as investors kept betting on supportive U.S. monetary policy. The other Wall Street benchmarks cooled a touch as momentum stalled, and U.S. Treasury yields rose on the day of a 10-year notes auction. The Dow climbed 0.4%, the S&P 500 was flat, and the Nasdaq fell 0.2. Companies continued to report quarterly results, including Uber, whose stock dropped nearly 6% after it posted a surprise quarterly loss and issued a downbeat forecast, while rival Lyft jumped 7% after projecting higher-than-expected gross bookings and a core profit for the current quarter. And finally, Tesla slipped 2% following a Reuters report that U.S. prosecutors were examining whether the company committed securities or wire fraud by misleading investors and consumers about its electric vehicle's self-driving capabilities.
As a point of progress in which China is making towards technology self-sufficiency, a tear-down analysis showed that Huawei's latest high-end phone features more Chinese suppliers, including a new flash memory storage chip and an improved chip processor.
Huawei's latest high-end phone features more Chinese suppliers than ever before. This includes a new flash memory storage chip and an improved processor, highlighting the progress China is making towards technological self-sufficiency. Online tech repair company iFixit and consultancy Tech Search International scrutinized the inside of Huawei's Pura 70 Pro. They found parts including a memory chip they said was likely packaged by the Chinese giant's in-house chip unit HiSilicon. These findings have not previously been reported, and Huawei declined to comment. Some memory chips for earlier models had been made by South Korea's SK Hynix. Now, Huawei's resurgence in the high-end smartphone market after 4 years of US sanctions is being watched closely, as it has become a symbol of US-China trade tensions. Huawei launched the Pura 70's 4 smartphone models in April, and they quickly sold out. Analysts say it will likely take more market share from iPhone maker Apple, leaving Washington to question the efficacy of its curbs on the Chinese telecoms equipment giant.
Toyota enjoyed blockbuster fourth quarter earnings but anticipates a challenging road ahead due to upcoming investments in suppliers and strategy for the projected decrease.
Toyota enjoyed a blockbuster fourth quarter but sees a bumpy road ahead. On Wednesday, the Japanese automaker forecast a 20% profit decline in the current financial year. It cited looming investment in both its suppliers and strategy for the projected drop-off. Despite that, Wednesday's results smashed market expectations. Operating profit surged 78% in the January-March quarter, while Toyota made a profit of $34.5 billion for the full year. It was the first time a Japanese company had reached more than 5 trillion yen, or just under $33 billion, according to local media. Toyota has been boosted by a weaker yen. It's also been a big winner from cooling demand for electric vehicles in some markets. In the US, for instance, more customers have bought petrol-electric hybrids, which are Toyota's traditional strength. Such vehicles made up more than a third of the 10.3 million cars it sold, while battery-only EVs made up 1% of Toyota's global sales in the year just ended. Toyota said it plans to invest almost $11 billion for growth this year in areas such as AI and software. But the automaker also faces challenges in key markets such as China amid mounting competition from local rivals.
And that wraps up today's Nightly Business Report. With the hopes of seeing you again tomorrow at the same time, I'm Sina Mayadune. Thank you for watching and have a great night.